Some people believe that it needs to take a lot of time for the bridge of events of your manifestation to unfold in the 3D. What does this mean, and is it actually true? And what do you actually need to know about the bridge of events and the movements in the 3D regarding your manifestation? Let's talk about it. I'm a manifestation coach, and my whole channel is dedicated to making your life easier with the law of assumption. So make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you don't miss any of my videos. I have lots of content that help you with your manifestation. So please stay. I would love to have you here. And if you need a more personalized help with your manifestations, you can of course book a one-on-one coaching session with me from the link in the description box below. You can also join my group coaching, which is a more consistent coaching in very supportive groups. In that case, please send me an email and we will find a group that is comfortable for your time zone. And let's talk about the bridge of events and the time it needs to take in order for something to unfold in the 3D. The question of time in manifestation is a very popular one. I have always been asked about how long does it take for this to happen, for that to happen, etc. And what does it mean that it needs to take time in order for something to unfold in the 3D? People who say things like this often forget that they are working with something that is called the law of assumption. And often people forget that everything is an assumption. So the explanation of it needs to take time for something to unfold in the 3D is that it needs to unfold in a natural way following the 3D rules. When you think about it, again, we need to go back to the basics of manifestation. If you watch any of my videos where I talk about going to the end and how manifestation works, I often bring you back to the basics because that's what you need. And because that is the simple principle of manifestation that doesn't need overcomplicating. Every rule that we have made for ourselves in the 3D is man-made. We have created these things, assuming things about situation, and then we claim it to be the rule. There is no such thing. And what do I mean by this? Let me give you some specific examples in order to explain why. Long story short, no, it doesn't need to take forever for something to unfold in the 3D just because you have made some rules for yourself. One thing that is repeated way too much in the manifestation community is when you are manifesting an SP. Let's say the example of you have been in no contact for a long time and now you're manifesting marriage. You will hear many people say, well, you can't expect marriage to happen in days. First, you need to get back to contact, then you need to date, then you need to do this, do that, and all that takes time, and then you will get to the marriage. My question as a law of assumption coach is, why? Why? Those things are assumptions that people have made when they don't know or they didn't know that everything is a manifestation. So when you don't know that the cause of everything in the physical reality is your own mind, assumptions, beliefs, stories you tell yourself, things that you imagine, then you have to come up with an explanation that explains why things happen in a certain way. Those explanations are most of the time bullshit. The explanation is always assumption. Why do you assume that something needs to happen in a certain way. I mean, if you want things to happen in a certain specific way everything is an assumption and everything is a manifestation, you can manifest it like that. But if you didn't assume that it needs to take forever and a billion steps for you to go from no contact to marriage, if you didn't have these assumptions, then you would go from no contact to marriage in no time. Why? Because you guys need to remember, regardless of who you're listening to, you need to remember that the power of your imagination is infinite. Stop treating it as a 3D human being. It doesn't work like that. It's limitless and it doesn't have these rules. The only rule it has is that whatever you assume to be true is going to be true in your reality. So the same is true for those who are manifesting money. If you are manifesting, let's say, a lot of money, a sum that is really a lot for you, which is going to be different for everyone. If you can manifest that regardless, if you stay in the end of having those money, it's going to come. But if at the same time you are assuming that money can only come through specific ways, or money only comes when you work hard, money only comes when you are XYZ, then you will end up manifesting the way that money comes to you. And it's the same way you end up manifesting every single step that needs to happen for your relationship to happen. Weight loss, it's the same thing. Everything is an assumption. If you assume, regardless of all these scientific explanations, etc., science is wonderful, but science explains something as the ultimate truth. This is just how things work, until they figure out something completely different, and all of a sudden, oh, we were wrong a few years ago, now it's completely different. It has been like this with every single topic in science. Therefore, it's all a manifestation. Everything is an assumption. Your weight loss journey is going to depend on your assumptions. Any manifestation of your physical appearance, your health, your job, your money, your relationships, your self-concept, it's all an assumption. And the way it unfolds based on your assumption. And here's the best solution. Here's the absolute best solution that I can give you. And this is the way that I guide my clients in coaching as well. Go to the freaking end and stay there. That's it. Whether you are manifesting the end goal of marriage and 4 kids and the huge mansion and whatever you're manifesting, or you want to go in steps. The step you're manifesting currently is going to be your end goal. So regardless of how you're manifesting, when you go to the end goal and you stay there, and you don't ponder on, how is this going to happen? How long is this going to take? Does he need to first call me and then invite me out on a date, and then we go do this and then that, and then a couple of months have to pass, and then we get introduced to the families, and then if you're telling that story, then yes, that's going to go exactly like that. But if you leave all that out, and you don't judge your manifestation based on what you have known in the past, based on what is happening in the 3D currently, based on what your friends are telling you, who are you pushed out, by the way? Anything that your friends are giving you advice on, these are your assumptions pushed out. So just FYI. But if you stop the judgment, which is this is how it's going to go, this is good, this is bad, this is the usual, etc. Leave all that out, go to the end, stay there. Your wonderful human imagination and the part of it which is the subconscious mind, which is the executor of your assumptions, knows exactly how to bring it to yourself without your help. The only thing that is required of you is to focus on the thing that you want to experience. When you do that and you rehearse and you constantly experience, to the best of your ability, of course, that this thing is happening now, Your mind, this infinite power that you're working with, knows how to bring it to you, will, in that case, bring it to you the quickest way possible, the easiest way possible, the best way possible, always. But when you start manifesting the middle, and most of the times you guys don't realize that you're doing it. Like, for example, we're in no contact, but first we need to go on dates. You're going to manifest the dates in order to manifest marriage. So what ends up happening is that you condition your manifestation. I had a client once who came to me to manifest weight loss. And of course, if that's your desire, no judgment for any desire from my part. We work on whatever your desire is. Several sessions in, it turns out that she wants to manifest weight loss in order to manifest an SP. And I had to shift that in her mind to make her understand that these are two completely different things. One doesn't depend on the other. The same goes for how your marriage unfolds. If you don't assume that things are going to or need to happen in a certain way, they don't need to unfold like that. If you don't assume that your weight loss needs to take a whole bunch of work and a long time, then it doesn't need to go like that. If you don't assume that manifesting that amount of money needs to take hard work and a long time and this and that, it doesn't need to go like that. These are all human rules. These are all the rules of the 3D, and your mind doesn't work based on the rules of the 3D. This is what people forget. Your mind doesn't work based on the 3D. So if you didn't assume these things wouldn't manifest. And no, it doesn't have to take a long time. It can, but it doesn't have to. It can, because it all depends on your assumptions. It all depends on, just that. Your assumptions, both about the topic itself and about how it's going to unfold, about yourself, self-concept. Everything is an assumption. And if you pay attention to what's going on in your mind most of the time, you will realize that you have more assumptions than you would have guessed. So stay in the end, keep it simple, don't overcomplicate it, and remember that your mind doesn't work like a human being. It works differently. It's limitless. It knows better than you do. So don't dwell on the how. Don't dwell on how long. It depends on how long it takes for you to get it in your head, basically, to impress it on your subconscious mind, as Neville Goddard calls it, which basically means you change one belief with the other, or you change one story with the other. And also pay attention to what other assumptions you're making about this thing. Does it need to happen in a certain way? Do you care how it happens? I, for one, doesn't care how my manifestation comes. And yes, I also can sometimes wonder, how is this thing going to happen? And then, of course, when you realize you're doing it, you go back to, no, I already have it. What do I mean, how? I already have it. What do I mean? When is it going to come? How long is it going to take? So simplify it as much as you can. That's going to make your life easier, and it's going to make your manifestation come quicker. So no, it doesn't need to unfold based on the 3D rules. The 3D rules are all manifestations of our assumptions. So again, whoever you're listening to, always remember that everything in the 3D is a manifestation, including your own actions, including the bridge of events. These are all manifestations. It's one thing after another that leads to your end goal, after which you are going to have other desires and other end goals that you are going to manifest. So manifestation never stops. It doesn't switch on and off based on something that you're used to from the 3D or based on some past experiences or what have you. It's constantly happening. So what assumptions are you making about your situation? and why. So really make sure you don't overcomplicate it. Keep it simple and stay in the end however you like doing it. And in one way or another, it's going to happen. And this is the quickest way to manifest, actually. You stay in the end, you assume it's happening now. This is also for those of you who are manifesting on a time crunch. Sometimes I'm asked, if I have like 3 days to manifest this, how do I do it? The quickest way is to assume it's already happening now, because there's no quicker time than in this moment, right now. And the last thing I want to say is that remember that you are operating through an infinite power. This is God of Scripture that knows everything, that can everything, that is limitless. So God is not going to sit there and say, okay, I can't give you a marriage in 2 weeks because you haven't been talking for 2 years and now you need to date, etc. That's a human way of thinking. We treat our imagination as a human being. The big manifestations, the small manifestations, these are also human terms. For your mind, there is no big and small. It's just one situation or another situation. Whether you are manifesting $1 or $1 million from the part of your imagination, it's just a manifestation. It's our human experience that says, oh, this is small, so it needs to take, oh, it doesn't take time. This is big, it needs to take time. These are assumptions. I want you to realize with this video that these are assumptions and that you make more assumptions, many of them not to your benefit, than you may realize. So what assumptions are you making about your manifestation? Feel free to leave a comment. And why do you don't believe everything you hear, and you also don't need to do everything you hear. Simplify it, stay in the end. That's all you need to do. So I really hope that this was helpful. If you need a more personalized help with your manifestation, you can of course book a one-on-one coaching session with me from the link in the description box below. You can also join my group coaching. In that case, please send me an email. Have a beautiful day and see you in the next video.